Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem amma ba'd. So today it's week 4. We are actually going to talk about the framework of sustainable development. Basically, this class is given to you to make you understand that how important is this subject. Most of the time you will be learning so many courses, of course. You know the potential of the course, the importance that you should be given to that course. You know how what exactly what is the learning outcome of the course, what exactly the synopsis of the course, what you're gonna do after learning the course. These are the things always there, because every single course is given to you is based on a particular purpose. So now this course is given to you, I know, and luckily you are the first batch of having this class, because previously this class, this subject doesn't exist. All right, so you are the first batch. Being that you are the first batch, I think you need to know that how important this subject is. So we are going to talk about the history of this subject, how this subject is actually came into existence, since when people started talking about the climate change, global warming, the environmental issues, right? So this is what you are learning from this classroom. But since when actually people started talking about, and how this thing has been, I mean, what kind of attention has been given to this topic, and what are the obstacles that they had, while right now it looks like a package of 17 sustainable development goals. All right, but before this, before it become, before, what was it before it become to SDG 17? So how it started, right? There must be something, right? So it's like, like a human life, there is a beginning and there is a maturity level, and then going and going, right? So the same thing for this particular idea. What was it, and how was it, and what was the issues before, and then now where we are. So this is what actually we are going to talk about in this particular class, which is today. So we are gonna discuss key conventions, declaration, agreement, and the framework of sustainable development. Meaning to say that how many, where this idea started, in which conference this idea was planted, and from there, how many, after how many years people started realizing that there is a issue with environmental of this earth. There is there is there are many issues with global warming. There are many problems with greenhouse gases. There are problems coming. So the resources being exploited, and how this thing going to cause inevitable problems in future. So these are uh, the things started being discussed. It's not that easy to make everybody buy the idea, because I cannot simply make you believe what it is, unless there was lots and lots of uh, efforts have been carried and forwarded. Then only people today talk about United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. But before it become to that, what was it actually, and what are the countries supported the idea, what are the countries they refused the idea. Even until today also, some countries still refusing the idea of global warming. So so what were the the developments in this particular idea of sustainable development. So these are the things that what we are going to discuss. The second half of the class will be something that very much close to you and all of us, because we're gonna talk about the Sejahtera, The Sejahtera, I think, we know this word from the beginning, and it is already there in our Malay culture, in Malaysian culture, because we used to say Salam Sejahtera. So I know that you all familiar with this word Sejahtera, but here how we are going to use it and how we actually going to connect, relate our culture. We have, alhamdulillah, very good culture of Sejahtera. How we are supposed to link our culture to this as an implementation of sustainable development. Can my culture uh, gives can my culture give some impact to this sustainable development? I think the answer is yes, possible. If you look in, if you look through that, if you can wear that glass and look through it, I think there is a possibility, because there are many culture in this world actually. Basically they support this idea. Not necessarily they have to name it like sustainable development. There must be some other names. Like one of them is actually Sejahtera. Sejahtera as a well-being, as a maslaha in Arabic. This is something that we always care about, the universe. We always care about the nature. We always care about the people. So that caringness, that caring is actually something Sejahtera. There is something to do with sustainable development. So inshallah, that will be our second half of the class. So let us start with the key convention, declarations, agreement, and framework of sustainable development. And let me ask you this question. What are the international agencies responsible for advocating and implementing sustainable development? I know some of you may have no idea about what is this question is all about. Just answer whatever you know. It's fine. What are the international agencies responsible for advocating and implementing sustainable development? All right, please go ahead, give your answers. Yes, very good. Good, good. Answers are there. Yes. Good, mashallah. It's really good that you know what I mean, that many international agencies. That's a really good thing to do, right? UNESCO, UNICEF, you also know APEC. That's good. ASEAN, all right? PBB, yes, very good. Nice. Okay, now let me ask you also another question, right? Basically, it's United Nations, yeah, very good. Good, good, mashallah. Mostly very good answers. Yeah, good. Good. Thank you very much. Let me ask you the next question. What are the national agencies responsible for advocating and implementing sustainable development? Good. Okay. That's a good answer. UNDP. All right. I know many of you may not know the names, but it's okay. Don't worry. Maybe in future IIUM, right? If you like it, if you like IIUM, just name it. Tomorrow maybe it could be, inshallah. So this is what we are becoming now. So whatever the United Nations governmental and non-governmental organizations available in the country, inshallah, will support this idea. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so now let me start with the first agenda of the class, which is actually talking about the sustainable development framework. So you need to know the history of this. So it started in 1972, almost 50 years, almost, I think 48 years exactly. Before 48 years, the first United Nations Conference on Human Development, Stockholm, it was created by UNEP. Then the 1987, look at the time frame, almost after 15 years, right? World Commission of Environment, WCED, they call it Development Published the Broadland Report. Then the most important one, the first important one is actually 1992, Rio Earth Summit published Agenda 21. I will tell you what is actually Rio, what is Rio Earth Summit, and then also what is Agenda 21. I will let you know, right? That is the most important, the first important, because the 1992, uh, which is almost 30 years before, okay, almost perfectly 28 years ago, all right? You were born? No, you were not born that time, I know. So I was born, I was there. Okay, so this is like 28 years ago. This is the first most important conference talks about the environmental issue, right? Then 1992, the same year, um, United Nations Framework Convention Climate Change, UNFCCC. This is what they talk about, climate change. Then the another one is a very important one, the 1997 Kyoto. So Kyoto in Japan, Kyoto Protocol. Remember this Rio and then Kyoto, all right? Then you have 1992 United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity. Then United Nations 1995. Then you have 2000. We call MDG, Millennium Development Goals. Then we have WSSD, which happened in Johannesburg. Then we have SDG. So from MDG to SDG, we will talk about it later. So now let's go to Rio. All right, in 1992, 20 years after Stockholm, almost 20 years after Stockholm. So this is where actually countries were participating, talks about a broader issue. They talk about environmental trends and developments, right? National, international levels. This is where they brought the Agenda 21. What is actually Agenda 21? A plan of action for the United Nations organizations, governments, and major groups in areas where human activities have a negative impact on the environment. So in 1992, they agreed, because before that they were not agreed. In 1992, everybody agreed that human action is a cause to climate change. Right, so we need to accept it first, admit your mistake, then only you can find solution. So they have admitted, and also led to agreement to two other convention which became open for signature. Then the framework of Convention on Climate Change, FCCC, framework of Convention on Climate Change, basically being produced, and the Convention on Biological Diversity, both legally binding. So this is what happened in 1992, continues. Again, FCC, the most important of the product of the Rio Convention in terms of leading to the preparation of the Kyoto Protocol. The Kyoto Protocol, 1997. This is where actually, in 1997, the big decision being made, which inshallah we'll talk to you about in the next slide. The key points in Rio de Janeiro was this. Number one, stabilization of amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Do you know what is greenhouse? Do you know what is greenhouse gas? So greenhouse gas is actually a gas that absorbs and emit the energies, the radiant energy within the range. For example, whatever that you produce, the water vaporization, the carbon dioxide that you are letting it go, the polluting the earth, methane that you are using, you are extracting methane from the earth and then you are letting it go. Also nitrous oxide, and also O3, ozone, all of these actually is a gas. All right, this is actually becoming the gas. This has to be changed, convert into something so that the ozone layer will be safe. But because of the pollution that the pollution that we are actually exploring, I mean, sorry, not exploring, the pollution that we are making, so we are making this gas is actually converting the atmosphere into warm. All right, because of that warmness, okay, the gas actually it's like, for example, when you are cooking something, you will feel heat on the top. Let's say you cook something and then you keep your hand on the top, maybe on, not necessarily onto the fire, but if you keep your hand, maybe you just go near to the stove, you go near to the stove, you feel the heat. Am I right? So what happening now, we are actually burning a lot, and because of that, the gas, the heat is actually going out. Usually people always do that. It is not that only we are burning only today, even many years actually people being doing it. And whatever that they do, the atmosphere will change those heat into cold or into some other gases. But recently most of the people actually burning. So what happens, that the burning level is going out, and then it is actually emits the radiant energy within the thermal infrared range. Then what supposed to happen, it is not happening. What's supposed to happen is actually the heat must become cold, or it should be changing, but it is, the changing level is actually becoming slow. Then what happened, that it coming back, it's staying again within the same level of the global, the earth, and it's causing the earth to become warm. You understand? It's causing the earth to become warm. So now there is a heat, for example, now it's quite, it is quite real. I mean, it is quite reasonable, because now every time you go, they always check you, right? They want to check your temperature. So now for the earth also there is a temperature, right? For everything there is a proper temperature. But what happens nowadays, like recent years, few decades, you can see that the temperature of the earth is actually increasing. It's supposed to be same level, but every single year they are measuring the temperature of the earth is actually increasing. And if it keeps on increasing, then what happens, that the coldness of the earth will become into the start melting. The coldness will be starting melting, and then if start melting, the Antarctica, the North Pole, now what they call it, the North Pole, including Kashmir, right? If you know Kashmir, how beautiful it is. All right, I don't see anything here in Malaysia, that's why. Maybe Genting, okay? Genting, if you go there, is quite cold, right? So maybe if it keeps on happening, the things will change, and that will bring flood into our places, and then the water level will go high. The seawater, because the water will definitely will go to sea, because the water once start melting, it will go to sea. Once it goes to sea, it will not become the drinking water. All right. So what will happen that it will become the salt water, and then the water level will go high. Then all those people in ocean, they will. I'm not scaring you, okay? Do you think I'm scaring you or what? I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you truth. Huh? What? Muhammad Ali is still thinking that I'm scaring him or what? Huh? This is the truth, huh? Right? So that was not my intention, by the way. Do you think that I brought the 2012 movie to you? Huh?
No, 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 I actually have something to.
Oh, no, no, it's okay,
Sorry,
it's
sorry.
okay. You know the movie that what is 2012, right? So
Yes,
the 2012, the
2012.
world is changing. Huh? Maybe you have seen when you were in the school. Yeah, I think it's almost 8 years ago, right? So that is actually what supposed to happen, if things keep on coming. So in another word, the eschatology, what they call it, eschatology. The eschatology, they call it, the alamatu sa'ah, alamatu sa'ah, meaning to say that the signs of judgment day, the signs of qiyamah. I think it is also true that there is a statement that qiyamah will come because of our action. And today, whatever that we are doing, tomorrow it will be the action, right? So the water level will go high, and then because of that, the people will be suffering, and then things will change. This is what actually going to happen if we don't maintain the greenhouse gas. So usually the greenhouse gas actually, there are water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, ozone, and then nitrous oxide. All right. Okay. So that is what actually I wanted to tell you. So the developed countries should take the initiative in reducing levels of greenhouse gases, because this is what in 1992 they started telling. 28 years ago they said you have to make some initiative so that you can reduce the levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, because if it keeps on increasing, that's the reason why today, the electric car, the the green energy. Why people talks about green energy? Because of this, right? Now people are going, we are telling that even though the electricity is being used, right, the TNB is actually supplying the electricity, but try to use less. That's why that some of you, mashallah, still put only one light. Huh? That's very good of you. You don't put a lot of lights, unless I don't know how to make my lights only with one switch. And there are, I think, two lights are going there. I don't have different switch for it. So this is the reason why it's better that we use less, so that we can reduce the level of greenhouse. No specific greenhouse gas reduction aims, time frames, or penalties been agreed upon that time. In 1992 they didn't agreed upon the time frame, but later they agreed upon Kyoto Protocol. After three conferences, COPs mean conferences of the parties, a meeting in Berlin and Geneva, eventually in Kyoto, Japan, happened in 1997. And then they decided the following thing. Number one, emission reduction targets of greenhouse gases for each of the member countries. So they agreed around 157 countries. They said, let's go for a measurement. Every year there will be measurement. How much that you reduced emission reduction targets, how much is there emission reduction targets. So they started having some greenhouse gas emission trading program. For example, if you started reducing the greenhouse gas, then these are the offers for you, this kind of thing. And then many countries in Europe also started doing it. But problem is actually the developed countries and developing countries, which I will come to you after this. Then they had holding future meetings to set penalties for violators. But problem is, the strongest country of the world that time did not agreed upon this. Everybody agreed. The whole world agreed. Do you know which country? Okay, under the leadership of President Bush, America did not support the protocol. The rest of the country they supported. This big country didn't support. Because of this big country, the other small countries also didn't want to support. It means that I am not going to reduce my greenhouse gas emission, but you do whatever you do. Because for me, my life is important. For me, my people's life, I mean, for me, I will use more than everybody, but I will not support this idea. See, this is what actually very, this is very obvious that, they really didn't want to help the world. They just want to only help America. That's why they are keep on saying, uh, what is the slogan that this guy was coming up? Let's make America great again. Yeah. So now in the next election also he says the same thing, because the people asking what happened to the last 4 years. You didn't make America great. Now he say, okay, we will make America greater. So great become greater. Huh? So that's how people making themselves great and greater. All right. Then the next one, 2002. This one specifically, specifically they talk about not only the global warming and environment issue. They specifically talk about oceans, coasts, and islands. Successfully, the government started, talking about. I mean, the government started reducing the laking clean drinking water. So people started having a clean water and basic sanitation by 2015. They agreed in 2002 that we should do it by 2015. At least people have the clean drinking water and basic sanitation. That's the reason why many African countries was given the idea, given the services, facilities for basic sanitation. All right. So the next one in 2007, Bali. I think this is Bali is Indonesia, right? Okay. Bali United Nations Climate Change. This conference brings together representative of over 180 countries. Last time it was 152, right? Now we got 180 countries together with observers. Also, governmental, intergovernmental, non-governmental, and the media also came and took part of it. All right. So the aim is to produce ambitious result capable of providing a global response. So this is what the idea they wanted to implement. They want to bring the roadmap leading to global agreement by 2009. Also, they need to perpetuate, and they also want to develop the Kyoto Protocol mechanism. So it happened. Kyoto Protocol mechanism already been confirmed. I mean, it's a firm idea, and they want to develop it. And the formulation of differentiate contribution from emerging countries and developing and the other developing countries. But the problem comes, when who's supposed to do actually developed countries, who's supposed to do this, because they are the one uh, behind all this. The developed countries I'm talking about, right? The developed countries, like all those uh, veto power countries, the European countries, the Americas, right? These are the countries. By the way, India is not developed country. India and Malaysia, they are developing countries. Okay. So what happened that these are the developed countries are the reason behind, because they are the one who started, for example, selling petrol, making cars, and the pollutions, everything. They are the reason why the global warming was happening. But the idea of this, green economy, and because it became the political pressure, because now one party is ruling, the other party had a reason why the other party is wrong. Now it became the political turmoil. So now they said that, okay, this company did not follow what is good for the sorry, this party did not follow what is good for the earth. All right. This party did something bad for the earth. This kind of talks. The protection of environment became a political issue. It made a quantum leap and began impacting on mainstream politics. Later became a core issue for even conservative parties. All right. Groups such as Greenpeace, these are the words you will see in society activism. Rainbow Warrior, right? These are the things comes up. issues identified, detailed work through, agreement reached, and everything. But the role of developing countries is very important, because in developed countries it become political turmoil. But in developing countries, because you need to know this, you need to know this method, because any developed countries will not keep their country, will not waste their country's resources. Okay? Always, you can find out. You can find out yourself. Any developed countries will not create their own manufacturing. I mean, the mass. I'm talking about the mass level of manufacturing, right? Any developed country will have a mass level of productions and manufacturing in different countries. For example, America will ask India to do this. America will ask China to do this. Europe will ask Bangladesh to do it. Europe will ask Malaysia to do it. You know why? Because in our, it is not only the labor, because most of the time people say this, it's a labor charge. It's because of the labor, cheap labor, they are doing it. No, it's not only that. It is not only that. They are hiding something. The truth is, uh, in order to create, for example, in order to create a car, hundreds and thousands and liters, I mean, 100,000, 300,000, 500,000 liters of water has been used just to create one car. And just imagine if you are creating the handphones, if you are creating leather bags, if you are creating garments, one jacket that you are, if you have a leather jacket, you need 15,000 liter of water to create it, to make it. Just imagine. So now that kind of water, for example, you see, if they are, for example, they are selling Coca-Cola and the Pepsi Cola, everything, right? This kind of drinks, the carbonated drinks, which is not seriously good for health. Of course, people still drinking, and you know that it is not seriously good for health. It is just, it's not even good. It is only the taste, but it is not even good for health. It is not even giving you any benefits to the health. But they will be having companies in different countries because they want to use a resource of that country. They are ready to pay. They have plenty of money. These developing countries, they have plenty of people, they have plenty of resources, all right, but they don't have money. So for the sake of money, they give everything. That's the reason why this is what's happening in Africa. Why Africa, they have full of resources, but still why they are poor country. This is the reason why, because the developed countries using the developing countries. All right. Anyway, the same issue will come for the global environmental issues. Developing countries begin to play a crucial role. Once this ambassador of India, he said, for once we have something to bargain with. This is a very good word. For once we have something to bargain with. Either we address the environment together or we go down together, because this is something very important. It is not about India, it is not about Malaysia, it is not about America, it is not about China, it is about everybody. This is the issue. Are you in or not? If you are in, if everybody has to be in. If you are out, everybody has to be out. Because one country cannot do better in this. One university cannot do better in this. Every entire universities, entire countries has to work on it. Then only we can stop this problem. Otherwise, the problem will continue. All right. The immense political pressure being exerted by civil society in developed countries was not missed by developing countries. All right. Establishment of common principles. So this is all the ideas came out, the debates, the arguments, the experiences. Because of this, they were able to establish common principles, common but differentiated responsibility for dealing with the environment, and the need to assist developing countries with finances and technology, because these developing countries are ready to work on this climate change and these global warming issues, but they don't have money. And then And then since they don't have money, they have to become part of working for developed countries. So now if you go to any developing countries and tell that, okay, please shut down the factory, don't do work for developed countries so that we can save the environment, then they will say, what will happen to our future? Because if we don't work, for example, you see the Indonesia, right? In Indonesia, there are several governments companies have been there. Most of them, they are supplying, exporting the garments to European and American countries. All right, but you will see that even the children around surrounding that garment factories, the small children, they have they got the heart disease, because of the environment, because of the leakages from the factory, because of the water that's coming into the river, and then they're drinking the water. So many issues. Even the oxygen also is not good. All right. So what happening now, if you go and shut down those factories, the problem with that people, because they don't have any other income. So now financially they have to help. So now that's why there's a need to assist developing countries with finances and technology to address any problem. The need to meet environmental development needs. Trade policy measures should not constitute arbitrary or unjustified discrimination. Application of common principles. Yes, these are the thing concluded. The depletion of the ozone layer. Okay, remember ozone layer, climate change, preservation of biodiversity, desertification, hazardous wastes. Waste, because nowadays the wastages, every single day we have electric wastages. And remember, the electric wastages, very difficult to dump it. In fact, even the dress, the pakaian that we are having, even it's all becoming landfill. The landfill is becoming the landfill, and it's been there forever. And because of that, the earth is losing its nature, because the soil is actually becoming into something. We are actually destroying the real nature of the soil. And later the soil cannot become, because they lose the fertility. It cannot become fertile. You put something in the soil will not give you back its fruits, because it is loses the what they call it, soil loses the virginity. This is what they call it. All right. So long range pollution, persistent organic pollutants were all the subjects multilateral convention. So now see, it's all becoming now. They were addressing the issues, the treaties being concluded, then later only became MDG, Millennium Development Goals. Now you can see the differences between MDG and SDG. All right. What are the differences? Let me show you a video, then it will be good for you. MDG, SDG, 2000, from 2000 to 2015, it was called MDG, but very few, because only 8 goals, and these 8 goals only meant for developing countries, like yours and mine. Only it was meant for developing countries. Then we have SDGs. It's actually universal. Everybody has to follow, which is actually 17 goals. Let me show you a video also as well. What is new with SDG? Look at MDG. There are only 8 siloed goals for development, but in SDG, 17 goals plus 169 targets, integrating 3 dimension of SD. All right. Okay, let's watch the video.
In the year 2000, leaders from 189 countries agreed on a vision for the new millennium. They wanted to end extreme poverty in all of its forms. So they made a list of 8 goals called the Millennium Development Goals, and they wanted to achieve these goals in 15 years. One of the leading organizations working to fulfill these goals has been the United Nations Development Program, or UNDP. We're present in more than 170 countries and territories. We championed the goals so that people everywhere would know what they were and how people could do their part. We funded projects that helped fulfill the goals. We helped countries accelerate MDG progress by breaking down the silos and working across sectors. We acted as scorekeeper, helping countries to track progress. As a result, the number of people that live on less than $1.25 per day has dropped by more than half. The number of primary school age kids who don't go to school, down by almost half. The number of people getting life-saving treatment for HIV increased by over 15 times. Child mortality, down by almost half. As much progress as we have made together, there's still a lot more to do. Over 800 million people are still living on less than $1.25 a day. 1 in 9 people on our planet goes to sleep hungry each night. Deforestation remains alarmingly high in many countries. Oceans are becoming more acidic, threatening food security and marine ecosystems. And about 1 of every 6 adults in the world is illiterate. 2/3 of them are women. We think those are tough numbers, and so do leaders from the countries where we work. So in September 2015, they agreed on a new set of goals to help finish the work we all started in 2000. The new goals are called the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. We have made significant progress in the last 15 years, and we think there's plenty of room for hope, for action, in the next 15 years. Today, the world is more connected by technology. We know more about how to balance the 3 pillars of sustainable development: social progress, economic growth, and environmental protection. However, our climate is changing. Our planet is transforming, and there are more people on Earth than ever before. We at UNDP believe everyone can have enough of what they need, living within our planetary boundaries, and we are working around the world to make this happen. Our goals to reach by 2030 are to eradicate extreme poverty, protect our environment, and much more. UNDP has 50 years of experience working with countries to make this a more prosperous, healthy, inclusive, and sustainable world. Join us.
All right, so I think that is what actually we need to talk about. From MDG to SDG. All right, so I think the reason why we've been talking to you this, because we want you to keep in mind that how important is this. I know that you're gonna talk about it, you're gonna think about it right now in these 4 months of the semester, but it is something that you need to also think about the rest of your journey, because you can make a right decision if you think which one is good for the universe. It is not necessarily has to be only for the purpose of sustainable development goals, only for the purpose of United Nations. This is also Islamic, because we cannot actually وَلَا تُلْقُوا أَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Right, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this, because you cannot put yourself in danger. So if I work for a company, and then that company is actually putting in many people's life in danger, then that's not the right company for me, even though they pay very well. You see, there are many companies, the tobacco companies around, they have many works, and they also have insurance companies. Don't think that tobacco companies are only runs in the tobacco company names. They also have several other company names, so you need to check their shell companies, the sisters and brothers companies. So yeah, tomorrow I can for the sake of my my life and my stomach, I need to fill my stomach and my wife and my spouse and my children. I can actually work anywhere, but this is something that we need to think along, that I cannot contribute something to harm this universe, which is actually not Islamic. This is what actually we need to work together. That's why it is important, because United Nations bringing everybody together, not only Muslims, non-Muslims, everybody comes together to work for this, and we need to give the support. Okay, the next one is actually quite relevant to you, because this one talks about Sejahtera definition and concept. This is something something very the word is actually very much related to you and your culture and our culture, of course, the country's culture. This is the reason we are bringing this here, because so that you can understand how it is, how much it is related, how much it is important according to our culture, not only according to United Nations, not only according to the Islamic thought and civilization, it is also according to the Malay civilization and culture. All right. So please start activity. How relevant is the concept of Sejahtera in your life? Go ahead. You have 3 minutes to finish. Okay. Choose your answer.
I can't write, so.
I mean, you have to choose or you have to write.
Right.
You mean you cannot write anything? Can you do now?
Yes.
Still
No.
cannot?
Yes.
Yes or no? Still you cannot write?
Yes.
No.
You are not able to write. You are not able to
Yes, we are not able to write.
see.
I can write.
Oh, somebody can write. Please, can you try? Okay, good. It is what makes my life at peace and balance. So it is relevant. Okay, go ahead. Okay, you still help each other and avoid fighting, even we are living in a multiracial community. Okay, good, very good. The concept of Sejahtera can be used to base how you want to live your life as it affects the people around you. Good. Ensure human well-being. Okay, good. No poverty will be achieved someday by using the concept of Sejahtera. Okay, good. I think applying the concept of Sejahtera in my life will ease my day and helps me to live my life so it is really relevant. Okay, good. We always hoping that all of us will live in peace to make my life more comfortable. Good, mashallah. Thank you for your answers. Easing. It incorporates good values and virtues, right? Just sharing with you some of the answers. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so now we have this video. I want you to watch this video. This video is actually our Tansri, our honorable rector of this university, is delivering the speech, because you need to understand the word Sejahtera. Of course, it was there. It's been there. The word Sejahtera has been there for so long. But Tansri Zulkifli Abdul Razak is the one who brought this Sejahtera, the word Sejahtera, into sustainable development. So he has that role to play. He played the role to bring the word Sejahtera in sustainable development. So you need to listen from him what he is saying. This is a TED talk. I think most of you know about TED Usually in TED talk, usually there will be inspiring speech will be given. So I want you to just watch this video and then give me your comments. Okay, so I will play the video now, and inshallah the video is, I think, 11 minutes long. So the video will be played. At the same time, you can also go pray and come back. All right, so I think the video will be there, and then those 7:15 we will be back. So you can also pray after the video. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be back and nice to support such an intellectual initiative made by the students. I'm going to talk to you about something which is very passionate to me. It's called Sejahtera. Sejahtera is a word that we hear every day. We say Salam Sejahtera almost every day, but we are not sure whether it's well-rooted as far as the word means to us. And the word is also seen every time in many circumstances. Federal Territory Day this February has got this caption, Warga Ceria Rakyat Sejahtera. What does Sejahtera means in this particular context? It means prosperity, right? But is that all the Sejahtera embraces? We've got Kedah Sejahtera. I'm not sure whether Kedah is Sejahtera at the moment in time, but we do not know what the Sejahtera means in this particular context as well. There are others. We have got songs. Sejahtera Malaysia. We sing them all the time, but the word Sejahtera do not actually get into us as far as the word and the root words as far as Sejahtera is concerned. So there's a lot of Sejahtera been talked about, but how do we articulate this? How do you make it real? How do you lift it? And this is what we try to do in USM in the early 2000s or so. So we created a program called Campus Sejahtera. By the way, there's now also a ministry called Urban Wellness Ministry, ataupun Kementerian Kesejahteraan Bandar. Yeah? It's also asked me whether luar bandar is sejahtera ataupun tak. Why are you talking just about bandar? What about the rural part? Is it sejahtera or otherwise? Yeah? So we created this program, Campus Sejahtera, well before the word sejahtera becomes a common word bandied around. And the idea was basically to create a concept of what life is all about. Irshad had just talked to us about life with nature. Our campus is like nature. We call it University in the Garden at one point. We want to make this garden alive, and therefore we want to bring this concept of holistic living in an environment that we loved. A balanced living, a sustainable living. But we need to articulate this not through lectures, not through assignments, but to live it. And to live it, therefore, we create this platform called Campus Sejahtera. And what it means essentially is about empowering students to learn to live with nature, to learn to live holistically in a balanced way so that you can feel the nature around you. And this is what we want you to be at the end of the day, telling the university what you think life should be for yourself as a future generation. Not just the university telling you what to do, but also you need to be empowered to tell the university what is best for you for the years to come. And therefore, the Campus Sejahtera programs becomes a platform for students to think. And I remember when we launched this in the early 2002, immediately, I think within 6 months, I've got more than 30 proposals from students on how to live the Sejahtera life. Asking questions about, is our diet balanced in the canteen? There are a lot of cafeterias, but are the food worth eating? Are they balanced? Are the transportation in the university sustainable? Are plants in the university the kind of plants that we want to see, or it is imported plants that we put in? There are many other questions that was asked. But because of the constraint in time, I'm going to mention about one very pertinent issue when the student walked up to my office and say, we want to ban polystyrene or styrofoam. And I asked them why. They say, we have used about 700 polystyrene a week, and this thing is not biodegradable, and we don't know how to dispose of it. And when you used it for food, the heat caused other effects, including carcinogenic effects. They give me a whole rigmarole of things why styrofoam should be banned. In other words, empowering them to tell us exactly what styrofoam did for them, and they want it to be banned. And they asked me, would you support us to ban this within a month? Certainly I would. And within a month, we got rid of the styrofoam immediately in the campus. They went to the canteen operators and said, we want to ban styrofoams. We want to get rid of styrofoam. And the canteen operator said, how do we serve you? He says, we here have got an ecological pack. It costs us 20 cents more, but we're willing to pay because we want to save the campus and the environment of the campus. That's the kind of enthusiasm that the student got the moment they understand what Sejahtera is all about and living it. And I'm even more glad to know that other people around the world have been observing the students and giving them recognition. GUNI, Global University Network of Innovation, that is based in Barcelona, took this project and recognized this as a student environmental activism because they say many campuses has wanted to ban styrofoam but couldn't make it. And here's one example. And after that, the Penang state government took over and banned styrofoam. And then the Negeri Sembilan, and then Malacca, and very recently, Johor. And I'm glad USM lit the way for other state government to follow. And this is what university is all about. You have to lead the way and show other people that we can do better than this. More than that, the Japanese gave us an award for creative development of healthy cities. And it's one of the awards I think that the university won as far as Sejahtera is concerned. So this Sejahtera thing becomes a very important platform for USM to articulate itself to the world. And more than this, I want to relate to a kind of a story that 2 Korean people came to the university and asked me about Sejahtera campus, what this is all about. And I tried to explain to them what this is all about by saying that this is about balance. And the balance is not only about 2 things, but the balance is about many things. And we summarized it in a very small acronym called SPICES. SPICES, S means spiritually balanced, P is physically balanced, I is intellectually balanced, C is about culture. You need to find where your contexts are when you talk about balance. It's not the culture of somebody else, but our culture, our value, our norms, so that it becomes relevant to us. And E is about ecology, it's about ethics, and it's about economy. We just want to talk about very material things, but something which is not relevant to us emotionally or spiritually. That is where the ethics is. And lastly, it's about our society. How do we safeguard our society, not only Langkawi, Malaysia, and also the world at large? And there is a concept of having this thing in a balance, holistically, and also what you call sustainability. But as I tried to articulate this, I suddenly found that the Koreans has taken this idea well before we can articulate it. And these are some of the videos that they talk about a Sejahtera campus in the southern tip of Korea. Let's see the Sejahtera campus as it were. It is perched just beside the sea and also a forest. And that forest to them is called Sejahtera Forest, with a Sejahtera Center serving it at the same time. Very much like the Langkawi thing that you are trying to create. Yeah? They've got a dormitory, which is also very holistic, balanced, and sustainable. You have to do your own washing, you have to do your own cooking, and you have to clean up yourself. Nobody is going to help you as far as that is concerned. That's the hostel where they've created. And there's a forest beside it. There's no elevators. You have to walk most of the time. And they are now associating this with 23 other nations in the Asia-Pacific region as a kind of a center that everybody will go together and collaborate and experience diversity among themselves. And these are blocks that they create it to make what they call a Sejahtera Art Center. And you will see how they create this blocks by creating a mural of what the place is all about. There you are. And they launched it last year, and I was pleasantly surprised to be invited. I thought it was just another small feat, but you see how big this when they launched it for the whole Asia Pacific region to promote this concept of Sejahtera. It's open to public. They have a lot of discussions, bringing people in to talk about what the concept is all about. And I'm worried that eventually we will go there to learn what Sejahtera is all about when we are still not sure as far as the word means to us. There's the old folks and also the young ones. Yeah? So all in all, I think the Sejahtera concept becomes a very dominant concept as far as the Korean is concerned. Now they've got Sejahtera Scholarship, they've got Sejahtera Network, they've got Sejahtera Foundation, and they're developing what they call Sejahtera Leadership. So this word that exists amongst us, that we are not too sure about, others have looked at it, valued it, take it away, and try to make good out of it. Yeah? So the Sustainable Development School are basically also being developed to teach them what the concepts of Sejahtera is at a very young age. In our context, we still have not gone to that particular level. So what I'm telling you, basically, we need to come back to the kind of things that we have got within us, the indigenous knowledge, which is so important that we have left them aside. Now we need to bring back to the mainstream and make sure that we understand them well, culturally develop it, and make it something that the world can share. We do not have to depend on other people to do it for us. As intellectuals, we need to do this part and parcel of our contribution to the world at large. So I hope your campus can start this as much as you start the TED Talk, and to bring this across to the university if the university has forgotten it. So on that note, Salam Sejahtera, and I wish you well.
Okay, welcome back. Okay, so I think you watched the video. So that was actually when our country was in USM, because before he joined our university as a rector, before he joined our university, he was actually the rector of the vice chancellor of the University Science Malaysia USM. So so you can see that he worked on it. He already brought that change, and you saw so many changes he brought it. Sejahtera gardens and everything, because this is something very close to our heart, right? So so this is all something that you can you can always tell others about it. You can talk to your family about it. So before I go into this Sejahtera, the definition and everything, I think most of you, I hope you are better than me in reading Bahasa. I know. Let me also share with you, because recently Alhamdulillah, we got a book written by the Tan Sri. So let me share with you the book, and then I will also share the link to your WhatsApp group. All right, so can you see the book? I like the format of the book. It's called online.anyflip.com. So I think, this is like, you can go there nicely, and then, you can do this. Chante, huh? Isn't it? This look nice, isn't it? Can you see the book? Okay. So if you see that, essay on Sejahtera, then you go here, you can see the contents. Do you also listen to the sound? You can hear the sound, right? I think it will be very good if you open in your phone. All right, let me just forward to your group. Let's see. UNGS. Media. Right. Okay. You can check in your handphone. So you can see that this is the content, introduction, the case of Sejahtera, the spices of Sejahtera, positioning Sejahtera as the new purpose of education, Sejahtera leadership initiative, shifting dialogue to effective action. Sejahtera leadership is for everybody. I think that the book is just just out actually, because just now only they shared with me. This is the first print 2020. I heard that the book is being written by our Tansri. I think now I see the book. Only now, I think by the time I'm talking to you, then only they shared with me. I didn't know this book before the class. If I know, I would have gone through the books and then give you the idea. But I myself also same like you. I'm just seeing the book right now. There's a forward by Thakur, Paudiel, and then Zulkifli Baharom. And then this is the introduction, right? And then this is the, sorry, no, I missed something. Okay, the case of, number 2 is just the case of Sejahtera. Then you have number 3, the spices. Okay, the spices of Sejahtera. You can see here intellectual, cognitive, physio-psychological, spiritual, emotional, ethical. You can see this. The 10 elements, spices of Sejahtera. Ecological, economic, cultural, societal, and then you have this, the remaining 6. So all together become 10. The box and then the round. All right. Then we have number 4, positioning Sejahtera as the new purpose of education. Then number 5, Sejahtera leadership initiative. I think there are more pages actually, one by one you can go. Then I'm just going to the topics only. Number 6, shifting dialogue to effective action. Then you have Sejahtera leadership is for everybody. It's a very short, small book, but it's something also important for you to study. Conclusion. And then you have references, index, and then appendices. All right, I think that's all. Altogether, it's 68 pages. That's all. Okay, so with that note, so this is a Sejahtera definisi. It will be like, you can say this aman dan makmur, senang dan tentram. All right, so these are the words I think you know better than me. Masyarakat sejahtera, masyarakat yang memiliki, is it siri-siri or ciri-ciri di atas? Okay, good. Maybe why don't I ask someone to read for me? Okay, let me see. Who can read for me? Muhammad Ali or
I can.
you can, Mayor can do that? Okay. Mayor, just read this. Keselamatan, I mean, beberapa kan? Okay, can you go for it, please?
Beberapa peringatan daripada perspektif agama tauhid. Keselamatan, keamanan, ketenteraman, kedamaian, keselesaan, keharmonian, kasih sayang, keadilan, kebahagiaan berkait rapat dengan kualiti hati insan, akhlak baik sesama manusia, dan keeratan perhubungan kerohanian manusia pemimpin dan negara dengan Tuhan Yang Maha Esa secara menyeluruh dan berterusan. Dalam pandangan alam Islam ini berkaitan dengan prinsip iman, ibadah, amal soleh, akhlak, taqwa, dan ihsan.
Very good. Okay, number 2.
Kesejahteraan
This is given by Prof. Kamal Hassan. Okay, go ahead.
Kesejahteraan yang benar-benar holistik merangkumi kepercayaan, wawasan dan amalan untuk mencapai kesejahteraan dan kebahagiaan hakiki yang kekal abadi sesudah mati. Ini berkait rapat dengan keyakinan tentang hari akhirat dan pembalasan Tuhan Maha Penyayang terhadap kelakuan dan cara hidup hamba-hambanya bukan sahaja di Malaysia tapi di seluruh alam semesta.
So this is like a universal concept, right? At the same time, because when Prof. Kamal Hassan, I think Prof. Kamal Hassan is actually also Tan Sri. Prof. Kamal Hassan he was I think the third or the second, I think the third or fourth rector of this university. He's been here since the beginning, mashallah. He's one of the great scholar. I think maybe you are new, so you don't know him. He used to teach in many faculties, and he also has a paper, very old paper, that he wrote something on Sejahtera. So his definition, if you see, mashallah, it talks about dunya and akhirah. Also, it talks about not only the locality, it is also international, right? Okay. Number 3.
Pemimpin adalah pemegang amanah ilahi yang bertanggungjawab kepada Tuhan Yang Maha Penyayang. Mereka menjadi contoh tauladan tentang kehidupan yang berasaskan iman dan takwa kepadanya. Number 4. Institusi pendidikan tinggi adalah amanah dan wasilah tertinggi untuk melahirkan insan yang soleh bagi untuk masyarakat sejahtera berdasarkan konsep kesejahteraan hakiki al-falah yang berlawan dengan konsep al-khusran.
Okay, al-khusran is the opposite of al-falah, right? Something to lose, something. Al-falah is a victory. Al-khursan is actually something bad, something that you lose. Okay, number 5.
Number 5. Konsep ummah yang berdasarkan akidah tauhid yang merentasi bangsa, bahasa dan geografi, mengatasi kepentingan bahasa dan negara.
Okay, very good. Actually, what he is also a scholar of Islamization. If you know the word Islamization, I think there will be a couple of classes. Inshallah, you will be attending very soon, or maybe you are already attending in this semester, which talks about Islamization of knowledge. I think that is the beauty of our university as well, because every faculty you go, it is important for you to know the Islamic perspective of that study. If you go to engineering, if you go to architecture, if you go to medicine, pharmacy, or economics, where I am now, it is important for you to learn the Islamic perspective of that particular subject, whether it is a law, legal matters, or whether it's a human sciences like psychology, sociology, anthropology, right, communication, political science, each and everything. There is a Islamization perspective. I think he is a scholar. Prof. Kamal Hassan is a scholar of this Islamization. So I can see the same thing that he also, when he gives the definition of Sejahtera, he brings Berdasarkan, Akida, Tawheed, all these things he brings together. And basically speaking, it is true, because if you look into the Malay culture, it is basically Islamic culture, because you cannot bring, I don't have to tell you this because you must be the one who telling me this, because there is no Malay culture without Islam, right? And then it completely changed. Maybe over the many centuries ago, it was a different. Before Islam comes to Malaysia, this part of the world, they were something else, but they were not they were not actually the mushrikin. They were not actually the one who worshipping the idols. They were actually maybe the naturalist. Naturally they were waiting for some wahi or something. So, but when Islam came, everybody accepted, all Malay, the thing. That's the reason why you can see the Indonesia is actually the largest, not one of the largest Muslim country in the world, because acceptance of Islam. That is really really very important. That's why I think these definitions are is being given of Kamal Hassan. Mashallah, this is really uh, very much actually. It's giving you the attention and also the attachment to this concept that we are discussing today. Okay, so these are the news are there. You know what is Sejahtera, and then of course everybody now talks about Sejahtera. Of course, the news are there. You can open this website, and then you can basically see things that has been said by politicians as well. All right, and then okay, then okay, next one is actually uh, our Tansri Zulkifli. He also wrote many, because he's been writing for many, almost more than 20, 30, 40 years. He's been writing in newspapers. I think this one you saw right now is recently you saw this in the video. He was using the Sejahtera forest, right? And then Sejahtera for quality education. And then the essay on Sejahtera, you just know you got it. All right. Then, if you want to learn more about it, there is a chapter talks about, again, this is written by Tansri Zulkifli, decolonizing the paradigm of sustainable development through the traditional concept of Sejahtera. Then you have this growing recognition of relevance of indigenous knowledge of wisdom. Sejahtera, a philosophy of sustainable living and balanced coexistence. Because most important thing is the balance. Because that is also one reason, because I know I've been giving you this example last time, right? I told you, do not wait until fire comes to your home. I know your home is safe. Your home is very good right now, but if the fire comes in the neighbor country, you cannot be sitting here and then, saying that we are safe. So before that fire comes to your home, you need to come out and then stop the fire. So the reason I was giving this because your home is already safe. I know that. Now we live in this country, Alhamdulillah. This country, this space, this geography, this environment, Alhamdulillah, it is so far so good. Why? Because of our attitude to the nature, because of our nature, our characteristic to the nature. That's why we know we have this balanced coexistence. We don't even though most of the houses in Malaysia is built using the wood, but still, mashallah, there are so many, so many forests is there. We don't do deforestation that much like other countries are doing. If you come to India, you will be seeing that the forest is being cut down, and then so many natural resources being moved here and there. That's because of the desire, the life desire to have more people, not following, they don't have the right proper attitude. But that's not the case here in Malaysia, because there is a balanced sustainable living. That's why, mashallah, so far we are so far so good. All right, and then this is a value set. By the way, I'm sorry about the slide. Usually the slide should be good, balanced, harmonious individuals. This one is at the end of education is character, right? Because why? Even because we learn so many things, but if our character is not good, then what is the point of learning? That's why man la adaba lahu wala ilma lahu. If there is no adab for you, then there is no point of learning, right? So this is Sejahtera concept of education: intellect, physical, emotion, spiritual. So you need to learn. You need to always keep this. What they call it? Kesejahteraan diri, to contribute to the harmony and betterment of the family, the society, and the nation. So the balance and harmonious individual is actually comes with these four: physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually. It is also called in Malay, I think, uh, Is it like jism? Is it not jism? Some other words in Malay I forgot. Jismani, Ruhani. Can you help me? Jismani, Ruhani, emosi, and then what is the word for intellect in Malay?
Kebijaksanaan.
No, not that one. The other one.
Cerdas.
What is it?
Cerdas.
Not that one. Something else. It comes. It comes like very jiras.
Is it also intellect?
Intellect. Okay, very good. I think. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Hannah. Yes, yes. It is also intellect. Yeah, you can also call intellect. Huh? I think that's why I think J-E R R-I, Jerry, Jeri, Jismani, Emosi, Ruhani, and then intellect. Okay, thank you. So this one. If you go to Kulliyyah of Education, I think you will see this outside because they wrote this. Sejahtera and Diri. These are the standards, balance, and harmonies. This is already there. This is not something that we invented. We have invented. It's been there for so long, right? Okay, sorry again. Sorry about the. Is there something that you can do within? I was told that you can do something with this. You can actually move. It's like a 3D. Is it something like that? Do you think you can do that? You cannot do that, right? We were told you cannot do. Okay, then. Okay. We were told that you can do like 3D, kind of rotating system, but I didn't know that we can do. Okay. Okay, another one also is here, same thing, but sorry about the mess in this. Hopefully we don't do this again. Okay, also when we talk about Sejahtera in Malaysia, in Malay culture, it is also possible that other cultures, other countries also may have the same thing, because it is not only that we invented, right? Every culture they have the same kind of thing, but they may have the different names. Like in Japan they have ikigai, they call it. In Swedish it is called lagom. All right, in in Norway and Danish, there's a Danish word called higi. So this is also similar to what we call Sejahtera, but our Sejahtera is more into, according to what Prof. Kamal Hassan, it is not only local, it is also international. It is not about only dunya, it is also about akhirah. Okay, now please go ahead, do this. Can you please do this for me? You have A, B, C, D. Please choose your answers. Can Sejahtera become a concept of living for sustainable development? That is a question. You can give your good answer. Not necessarily it has to be perfect answer. Whatever you think, do it. Okay, I think all of you, all of you choosing A. Okay, I don't want to, give you what do you call. I don't want to push you to give A for everything. Just it is okay if you can. If anyone asks no answers or maybe I don't understand, it's fine. Okay, good. Thank you very much. And I think this is again the communicable object of Sejahtera. This is what we know about Maqasid. Last time we learned about Maqasid, 5 things: life, intellect, lineage, wealth. You can see here intellectual, cognitive, economic, ecological, emotional, societal, spiritual. Again, all these things comes together because this is actually also part of Sejahtera is recipe, spices, meaning to say whatever that we learn in Maqasid also can be applied into Sejahtera. So maybe the names are different, but the same idea. So you don't have to get confused. Sejahtera also part of Maqasid. All right. Maqasid also part of sustainable development. So everything is actually interconnected because everybody is saying the good thing. So how it is possible that they have a different opinion? If everybody say the same thing, maybe the different methods they use the different words, but the destination is the same. Maybe you take the different way, but the destination is the same. All right. So, and then for, this is the last one, Sejahtera as the local implementation of sustainable development. For the local, Alhamdulillah, you can see that in so many places. This is very few examples that we got. We cannot bring everything here. See, we have clinic Sejahtera, right? We have Padam, Progress Sejahtera, Progressive, Lampan Progressive Sejahtera, right? We have some other buildings in that name. This is what 20 Tawaran Utama Manifesto Malaysia Sejahtera. So there are so many things keep on coming. Even now the government talks about, you know, prosperity, for example. Again, these are the talk shows. Talk shows are there. Here, this is Prof. Kamal Hassan, if you want to know. If you don't know Prof. Kamal Hassan, can you see on your the left corner down there? That is actually Prof. Kamal Hassan. I think if you don't know, now you know. Okay, the one with Kopia. All right. The next one is actually Tan Sri Kamal Hassan. Sorry. The next one is actually Tan Sri Zulkifli. Then other talks also, agenda, Sejahtera, and SDG. And then the other talk shows keep on going on. You can also write something if you have something. Role of Sejahtera in eliminating poverty. This one came quite recently, 4th November. Oh, mashallah. This is quite recent one. Okay, let me open. Oh, no. Actually, this is October 18, 2019. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought this is the today, date 6. Okay, this one was written by our Tan Sri Rector on October 18, role of Sejahtera in eliminating poverty. All right, this is the link for it. Then we have, yes, this is what I was telling you. We have the wawasan, kemakmuran bersama 23. Then we have shared prosperity vision. Like, you know, when this one was started by Tun Mahathir recently when he was Prime Minister recently. And we have shared prosperity vision 2030. Then we have 15 guiding principles. All this is all happening in Malaysia. So I think that's all from me. I think this is again Makasih Syariah. You have Sejahtera, Makasih Syariah. You have also Falsafah Pendidikan Kebangsaan, FPK. All right. Look, if you look into this, you have all things together. You have Sejahtera, you have FPK, Falsafah Pendidikan Kebangsaan. Then you have here the UNESCO's 4 pillars of education. Then you have here 5 fundamental necessities of Makasih Sharia. Down there you have 17 sustainable development goals. So this is who we are. Okay, if someone asks you who are you, if someone asks you where are you learning, which university you are learning, so don't simply say IIUM. And if they ask what is IIUM, then you show them this picture and you tell them this is who we are. Okay, then so I stop here. I open the floor for any questions, and please do your attendance in Itali. Jazakumullah khair.